Right, a very warm welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are being joined by Vanessa Conway, who is the founder of Feel Move Be, which I absolutely love the name of your business. And I think
Thank
it
you.
really kind of explains exactly what it is that you do. And I obviously have had the privilege of having a chat with you before this to really get kind of an insight into how unique your offering is. But it's going to be really wonderful to hear your story today and have a chance to chat to you. This event is part of our Women-Led Wonder series, which is an opportunity for us as the women's chapter to speak to our business members, get under the skin of their businesses, their stories, and give them an opportunity to share insights and inspiration with our community, with both the other business members, but also the broader community of the women's chapter. So Vanessa, it's a great honor to have you here with us today. I also know that you're going to be going off on maternity leave soon because you have another little one joining you soon. And I mean, you're positively glowing and you look fantastic. So
I'm quite surprised. You feel so well. So yeah, it's a really a big pleasure to be here. I'm really excited to share some insights of my business with the community, and have a real conversation, because with this situation it's difficult to meet other businesses. So yeah, it's a really a big privilege to be here with you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for making the time. And thank you to everybody else. I really appreciate that probably by this time people are feeling quite zoomed out. So I'm really grateful that you've made the time to join us this morning. And there are lots of familiar names that have joined us this morning, but also some new ones. So thank you. Right. I would like to start, Vanessa, first to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you got to where you are now.
Okay. So I'm Vanessa, I'm a body whisperer, and I've been working with women especially to help them falling in love with their body. And it took a while for me to understand my power, my talents, and what I bring on the table. Mostly it's my clients who tell me that I was working differently from other personal trainers. And I've just been following my instincts and my intuition and my experiences with my body to really create a business that not just is true to myself, but also help women creating their own shape, creating their own energy, and through movements and breathing.
And you've had a long kind of, well, movement has been a very big part of your life from a young age. And I know that you told me that actually you've really used movement in different forms to build your resilience, both emotionally and physically. And that in some instances, like when you were telling me about when you were at school, that you actually used that as a way to build your resilience when you were being bullied. Can you tell us about that experience?
Well, the way I was bullied was really provocating. I mean, in the way that, because I'm so reactive, I was willing to fight a bit too quickly. So I was not really comfortable with words. So instead of just bouncing with a sentence or something, it was more bouncing with a punch or a kick. And it was really overwhelming as a kid, because you are attacked constantly by other kids because you're reactive, but you're also kind of attacked from the teachers because you're not fitting the model of a student. Because I was not comfortable with my words, I was not participating enough for them. I was too shy, and I was not in the group. So it's always a big difference. And what saved me, it's dancing. The first thing coming into my life as a physical activity. It's a hard work to be in the dance school, because it's always the same thing from a group and just girls. And the teacher was kind of a bit rude for me. I've seen some things that I'm still shocked about it, telling a little one that she's 6 years old that she's too big, too fat, things like this. But I just
so that really does happen.
Yes, it does happen. The dance teacher didn't even understand how painful she was telling what she was telling to this little girl. I was just 6 and I just started to cry when I heard that. And she yelled at me because I was crying. So it's just kind of rudeness and that. But I just focused on dancing, and it really helped me kind of find my own space, and create something I really love, so I can rely on every week. And it just, really the touch, the way you touch, the way you feel, the way you love something, just protect you from any attack you can have around that. And obviously school you can't really avoid. You have to. So it was something, I don't have memories, a lot of memories when I was a child, because I was so much, I think my body made me forgotten about what I didn't want to keep. It's probably somewhere in my mind, I don't mind, but it's at least not completely there. It's just in the background. And the fact that I could at least create proper connection with my body, made me feel alive and feel that I'm allowed to exist. And it really saved me for the rest of I think I've done some 12 years of dancing. So it really helped me out all the way to the school and stuff like this. After that, you need a change, like everything.
I think you were also telling me that for a long time through your childhood and your teenage years, you always felt like an outsider and that you didn't fit, and that through dance and movement, you felt visible.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that people, that adult women still struggle with, that we and you're really fortunate that you found a place and a way to build your confidence and to feel seen, and to so I think that it was really wonderful when you shared that with me. And is that why you've continued to incorporate movement into your life, and why you work with your clients in the way that you do?
Yes, because I can see how I was explaining to you, like you have different faces, you don't act the same way depending on where you are. And when I was dancing, and I was especially on stage, that was completely different. I was confident. I didn't need to think about anything. It was just, I give, even if I do mistakes, I give, and I feel good. And I can see in my clients even now that they have to, especially for a high achiever, they have this kind of face of strength, that they have to show, this posture or this way to walk that kind of show I'm here to work and I'm a hard worker, but I can see the body saying, ugh, I'm not that strong in the way she thinks. I have strength, but I have pressured strength. It's more because there is this quote with the diamond, like the diamonds come from just coal and by pressure. And I think it's misleading people. It's not by pressure you become a diamond. You're already a diamond. And you just kind of need to show yourself and take off the limitation that people put on you. Every quote that people say you have to be like this and like this. And that's why I found that movement in the way that dancing or feeling every movement, like standing up, like walking, like getting up the stairs, they need attention. They need attention in the way they need to be in the flow. They need to have this lightness, this breath into it. that when you are, well, in London also in particular, but if you just watch look at in the tube or before, you see all this stress that the people just are spreading. The way they walk, it's, oh, I have to do that today. You can just see that on their body. The way they just attack the floor with their heels, and you can hear the music. It's a really bum, bum, bum of every kind of heels, men and women. I mean, it's the same way. And I want to give that to women especially because it's a different kind of approach. I owe that to women, I think. I feel that we've been trying too much to look strong and to put femininity a bit too much like it's just an appearance, but it's a way also to move, ways to be delicate, and it's strength to be delicate. And the smoothness we have comparatively to men that are kind of straight lines, we have curves in any way of definition of curves that are useful, that are beautiful. And it's just us to learn how to use them, to feel confident and to feel really ourselves. Because that was, I think, the most struggle I think I had in my life, is to express myself in the way that most of people can understand. And I feel that in my clients. I feel this stiffness in the back and this, okay, I need to have chest up, chin up, and this, okay, let's go. And especially English women, as I was telling you, that they have this reaction of pushing the head behind when they are like this. They have this kind of, I received something that I'm a bit surprised or unattended, or yeah, something kind of surprised me, or not shocked me, but yeah, something unusual. And there is this little head coming backwards. And most of what I've seen here in London is there is a lot of tension, for example, in the neck and around the jawbone here, and a lot of tension on the throat and the chest, because you have your resilience. I can see, or what I've seen from my clients at least, is that you take on, but you don't let go. You push away, maybe, but there is this resistance coming into the chest and into the throat. So there is this kind of unbalance then after creating between the neck and the shoulders, and this really weight on your shoulders that you have to go through it. And it's different in France. It's different for Indian people also. I have a lot of Indian clients, and they have all the other things. But mostly, yeah, there is the culture, emotional culture going through the posture, and I found that's just to be here to open the door of that, because the culture is not, obviously it's nice, it's part of the identity, but sometimes can be a closed door to who you really are.
So Vanessa, do you have, because I'm intrigued, because I mean, I'm aware, and I've always known that, you know, we carry emotion in our hips, and, you know, these are the sort of, and I think people are becoming more and more aware of how linked our minds and our bodies and our emotions, you know, that we are, none of those things exist in isolation. But do you have any tips or kind of advice you could share with us around how do we check those things? How do we become aware of them? And you know, is there anything that we can do on a day-to-day basis to stop those blockages or that energy building up in certain places?
There is, the first thing I will say, it's to it depends on the intensity of all the pain or the emotion. So to kind of understand if, for example, it's a really big pain of, I don't know, for example, the neck that is just tied, is the intensity. If it's more than usual, it's really on 1 to 10, for example. If it's at 9, to stop it, whatever you're doing, and then to see if it's the posture, so the mechanism of the body, or if there is something else. There is usually something else coming into the equation. But first, if it's just a posture, if you feel that because you've been working too long a bit, the head forwards or the shoulder forwards, to just take a moment, not to be stretching, but to breathe. And if possible, to put your hands on where it's painful.
Oh, okay.
So you connect directly to the pain itself. And you close your eyes and you deep briefly. Some people, it will be enough to calm down and then to move the parts that it's painful and then to go back to work. Some other will need maybe a bit longer to completely change the posture, to stand up, to go for a coffee, to go for a break, and then think about what is the situation here. Okay. For example, I have a client who works for the government. In this type of crisis, it's not really fun. Yeah. She has a lot of responsibility, obviously, and especially she's a leader of a group of men. And so it's already difficult because the tension that being led by a woman, it's a bit complicated, but she's a strong-minded woman. She doesn't look stressed at all, never. But her body doesn't say the same thing. And she's really good to make people comfortable and to help them. She finds solutions for everyone, but her throat is really tight. And it pulls the neck and it pulls the shoulders. She always have a problem with one of the shoulder because she is just a bit stuck here, a bit too much stuck. So what we help with is I help her to see the full picture of the situation, because the pain is an alarm. More is intense, that it's because you didn't listen before. That's the thing. The intensity, and then how, if it moves or not, also into the parts of the body, it depends on that. But if it's still the same pain that's coming always at the same place, there is the situation itself that give, how can I say, the body want to say, well, you need to stop now, or you need to understand the situation. The situation is usually a past experience that have been not solved, or things who are not said. So I know, for example, in my client's case, it's things that, okay, I need to tell them, let me. I need some space to breathe a bit. I can't solve every problems into the team all the time. I have also work to do. But it's her job, her to find her way through that.
Wow. So essentially, I mean, your approach to it's not what people would perceive as typical personal training, is it? No. I mean, do you find when clients come to you that sometimes they're like, whoa, this wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting to come and sweat and lose weight. And, you know, this approach, I'm guessing that they ultimately still achieve those things, but it's just a different way of going about it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get them deeper into to have lasting results. I don't believe that you just follow in a formula and puff, everything goes well when you don't solve some problems that hub in the background. It's just to be, and it's really to be true to yourself, to who you really are, and not just be, oh, I like this type of body, I would like to have the same. I would like to be thinner for whatever reason. Because usually if you're not at the weight you would like to be, it can be just shred by light diet maybe, or exercise because you've never been exercising before. But what I hear mostly, it's because there is conflicts into the body. There is no respect in this way of the body, that the body is a machine and should be just follow what the mind says. The mind is not the big boss. The mind is another part of yourself, and he's dealing with all this past experience and stories that he's telling you all the time. So he is not in control of the body. The body has its own view of what you're living, actually.
So that's quite different to what we often hear about mind over matter. You know,
Yes.
you decide something, the body will follow. I mean, I know I've certainly been told that through the training sessions and things, and sometimes, you know, and I certainly, and I told you about this, that I suffered from severe adrenal fatigue for a good 2-year period, and it took me a long time to figure out what was wrong. And that approach for me of my body, you know, my body just didn't want to follow. I hit a wall eventually, and you can run as much as you want and you can train as hard as you want, but it just, you know, my body was just not playing ball. And I think your approach is really refreshing. I think it must be difficult for some people to have to address some of the things that they've possibly buried or might not even know that they've been harboring in terms of emotions or trauma. But yeah, I think we're all realizing now, with awareness around self-care and mental health, that we cannot just focus on one aspect of ourselves anymore. It's a very holistic approach. So I think what you're doing is really refreshing, and it's making me wish that I want to work with you. So actually, I mean, I think at that point it would be really wonderful for you to tell us how you came to start your own business, because I know that you've previously worked in gyms and as an instructor, and you had followed the traditional fitness route in terms of employment. How did you come to start your own business, and what challenges did you have to navigate in that process?
Well, I started my first business in France, so in 2009, because I was working, I had a really good club to work with, really good clients there, but I was feeling really frustrated to not be able to have more time with them, to go deeper into the training, and to be with them when they're training, because most of the time when you're a gym instructor, or a group exercise instructor, you give exercise, but you're not always there to help them. And I also find that I had a lot to give, and most of my bosses just enjoy that without really paying me the amount I should have received. So they will be really grateful, but I didn't see the financial side of it. So I just started really without knowing what is a business. I'd never really considered myself as a businesswoman before. And I just jumped on my idea, follow my guts, and started. It took obviously a long time for me to have clients, because I didn't know at all how to bring clients there, how to attract people, except having some business card, a bit with hairdressers and supermarkets and stuff. And I got to meet this guy, a specialist in marketing, who followed my first handmade website, and brought me into the real world of business. He remade my website. He put me on Google on the first page. He told me, well, you have to focus on Pilates because it's something that it's trendy. And he taught me how to talk on the phone, how to organize a free session, and things like this. And it worked really, really well. So well that I was overwhelmed. I had too many clients. I was working 60 or 70 hours a week. And I fell I lost my health, literally. So it was before meeting my husband and before coming to London. And so I really had a really big fall that took around 1-2 years to come back up, but I was still working. I didn't have the right doctors also to help me out, because the doctors were, for whatever reason, were not really listening to what I say. For them, I was just tired, but it was much more than that. And it was at the end, it took I think more than 3 months to understand I was having an infection in the uterus that they didn't see. Wow. And all this year, this last year, I think in France, I couldn't get up off my bed. It was just like a slug. And it was really difficult to bring energy into my classes, and every time I was not doing classes or not talking to clients, I was sleeping. And it got really, really out of control because I had to bring me back up. I was eating too much, and I was starting to eat things that are not good. It was chocolate, it was a lot of pasta, really a lot of carbs, and that goes also into bulimia circle. And I was really out of myself for a year. And it took me time to have the right treatment for the infection, and then to have the right rest, because I didn't take time off at all of work. I was so much in fear of losing my clients that I just keep going working. And because it was a bit my part, I'm saving myself. I'm not thinking about me. I can focus on my clients. And it was helpful, but I think my health would have been better if I had stopped at the right time. So it was really kind of a wake-up call in this way. I met my husband at this moment. So I just find out that I need some fresh air. I need to to work differently, and that's how I came over into London, and starting again my business. Well, it's quite easy into fitness in the way that you have to start by group exercise to show a bit yourself and to learn about the clients, the potential clients you want to work with, or you can help. That's the main thing. But the culture at the beginning for me was quite not a shock, but a big difference, because my English was not as fluid or fluent that it can be now. So I was really training my way to teach first, before really engaging in the conversations. It was really how to be clear in my cues or in my classes to make sure that everyone was safe and getting the result they wanted. But I found out that in London it's quite difficult. Also, there is the English, but there is the English with accents. And that was quite a challenge for me to understand the person explaining to me their problems. So I had to rely on their body language also, more than the words, first to understand their problem, understand what was happening for them. And it helped me out a lot because it just expanded my skills of my connection, of connecting with their body to understand what is wrong and why you're not working how you should be. So this was one of the biggest challenge I found in starting a new business in London. But then I got opportunities with French people. I do have to say I didn't really want to work too much with French people because I wanted to explore the English and engage with this language more and more. And when you're always with French people in London, you can't you can't be comfortable in English. That's the thing. So I've pushed myself to focus on English audience, and it just got like a snowball. I've had opportunities to work with agencies that got me clients at the end. The clients wanted to follow me, and it just got bigger. I just followed my way through this until I got married and had my first baby. Then after, the challenge was different in a way that before I didn't have to do really marketing. It was just word of mouth. And after my first baby, I had my strong, loyal clients. Mm. But then for whatever reason, there were no much inquiries. So I just had to push myself to do marketing. And I have to say that was not fun. I found now a way to make it fun for me, but it's still a challenge to be in this world of now digital, yeah. And social media, because I'm an introvert person. I'm not someone wanted to share my life. I mean, every meal, things like this on social media. I found that I tried, and I found that exhausting and not really. Is that really necessary? Yeah. I prefer to have one conversation and sharing something important.
Well, I think it's that it's finding the balance, isn't it? Because I think you touched on some really interesting points, one of which being that when you run your own business, regardless of how seamless and slick it looks like from the outside, you are still everything. You have to, and as your team grows, obviously you can outsource things and you can delegate, but essentially you are still, you are the service provider, and particularly in your case, it very much relies on you and your energy. You're the marketer, you're the accountant, you're the HR. You are everything in terms of your business, and that can be very challenging when you're trying to grow. And I think one of the things that you were speaking about how you built your business in France and how you found a really good person to help you, and that made all the difference. I think that's something I consistently hear with the women's chapter members who have fast growth businesses, that they're talking about how important it is to surround yourself with good people. And that's often difficult from a trust perspective, or to relinquish that kind of control.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, for anyone that's in the room today that's sort of either has just started a business or is considering doing that, or is at some phase of the development of their business, I'm sure that this resonates with you. And Vanessa, the other interesting observation of mine is that you have faced a lot of challenge personally, and I think you told me this in our pre-chat, that it was only really when you were about 30 years old that you felt comfortable with yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that there's some people, I'm 43 and I'm only kind of realizing now, I've come to this realization that there actually are no rules, and I have to question, who the rules that I thought existed, who made them up, who said. You know, but that I think that's really wonderful. And you were speaking about how you struggled with the infection that you had and bulimia and all of that. Your clients clearly benefit from all of that experience that you've had and how you have been on this journey yourself. But you told me something the other day, which I would love you to share with everybody, about how you deal with challenge. And this obviously could be personal or business challenge. But could you share that with everyone today?
Yeah, of course. Well, it always depends on the kind of challenge I am in. If it's especially emotional or situational, in some case, if it's a situation, I try always to step back from it. So to really come back to myself in the way that I need to find the grounding into myself. So for me, it's through movement. If I feel that my head is kind of trying to explode or something, or I'm getting really angry with everything or everyone, that's because there is something in me that needs to be expressed. So going for a run or dancing in my case, or even having a walk in the park with nature around, just nature, that's for me something that just to have a breathe about it, and to really clear out first this first emotion or this first reaction of the situation, and then I won't say focus, but I let some space for solutions to come to me, because deeply I know there is a solution to the problem. I never think that if there is problems coming to me, it's just because I can't solve them. It's more because I have a way to do it, but I don't use it. More things like this. So there is a solution to the problem, but I need to step back first and put the stress out of my body and the situation to make opportunities happen.
That's really wonderful. Thank you. And you also had mentioned about how you, as part of that stepping back process, you made a conscious decision to focus on what emotion was being triggered. And I think that's really interesting. And it's something I've been thinking about since we spoke, and about how when I feel stressed or when I'm in a difficult situation, that I can take that time to think about, okay, what am I actually feeling here? Because so often we don't give ourselves that time or that space. So yeah. I think definitely for me, that was just such a wonderful piece of advice. And I'm definitely going to put that into my resilience toolkit of how I deal with challenge.
But I think it's something we're not taught to I mean, in the French perspective of it, it can also depend on the culture, but when you have a situation, it's always, or you have to suck it up, or you have to get a grip, or go through it, just head down and go through it. And you ignore completely your emotions or your pain or whatever. So that's why I think it's first I need space. Then I can come back to the situation with a clear mind. And see what's happened. And it's how you can know yourself also. If you can't know your reactions, you can't understand them. So you need to see the reaction and the triggers behind them.
Well, I think we're heading toward the time now. We've got a few minutes left, and I know we've been chatting all that time. I wanted to just say to everyone, if you do have any questions, pop in the chat, or if you would like to, I'm just going to go through some quick fire questions with Vanessa and ask her those. And once we've gone through those, if you would like to unmute yourself and ask a question, you'd be most welcome. I'll switch it to gallery view so we can all see each other. But Vanessa, before we get there, I would just like to ask you quickly, and you're not allowed to think about these for too long. Okay. Who or what inspires you?
Ooh, feelings, movement, in any case, in any form, in any shape.
Okay, that's great. What about your biggest fear?
Rejection.
Wow, that's a good one. Projection. Okay. Most courageous thing you've ever done?
Came over to London.
And started your business all over again.
Started new life.
And a guiltless pleasure, which I love hearing this from people who work in your industry, because
my best pleasure is a Pinot Noir with cheese on a really good bread, and that's one of my best. Yeah, just I'm just looking forward after the pregnancy to have some time to have that.
Okay. Very well deserved, I think. And do you have a mantra that you live by?
Follow your guts and have a go. Whatever happens, have a go.
And do you have a female role model that you look to for inspiration?
I have a few. I have more on the famous or celebrities is more Angela Strodbridge from Escape to the Chateau. She the way she does her business, she makes her business is so, it looks simple, but she have a go at everything and she see the results. And that's what I really like about doing business. It's not really planning or stuff like this. It's just instant. You just go for it. And I have a lot around me a lot of women around me that inspires me too.
Oh, thank you. That's wonderful. Okay, well, I'm going to switch to gallery view so we can see if there's anyone who has their camera on. But does anyone have any questions? Would you like to pop anything in the chat or something you would like to ask Vanessa? Otherwise, I have more questions. Okay. Vanessa, I mean, everyone's probably sick of hearing about COVID. But for your business, which was obviously very much focused on in-person, how have you navigated that? I mean, has it resulted in being a positive for you or opened up a new channel of the way that you will do business?
It opened more opportunities in the way. It has been challenging in the way that I lost some clients because they didn't want to go online for diverse reasons. Or I will see them maybe after the crisis is gone. But it also revealed the loyalty of my clients, that I just say, well, we can do online. It's not a big deal. We've done it before. We can do more regularly. And it happened that for them, it was, they were more onto it. They were on time. For some of them that was difficult. They were on time. They were more flexible also in their time, and they were enjoying having me more often also, because we could I do shorter sessions, and so instead of just two hours a week or 1 hour a week, we managed to do 3-4 times 30 minutes a week. So it changed also the way to train, and they really enjoy that too. So, but yeah, it opened also other opportunities, like for me on my creativity part, I mean, to create online programs, still on one-to-one, but with other experts, nutritionist and a mindset coach, and also, yeah, creating my YouTube channel. So it has been challenging because obviously I'm a physical person. I love have hand-on my clients, but in the same way, it's been a savior for my energy, because I was a bit too much onto giving and I was receiving too much of their stress. So yeah, there were good and bad, but I think most of it was positive.
Well, and that's interesting that you say that, actually, because I think if you've been able to do that during lockdown and put those, ring fence time for yourself and your own energy, that's a real positive, because I know that that's something a lot of people have really struggled with, the blurred lines between home and work and family, and finding, carving out time like that for yourself to feed and restore your own energy without feeling guilty about it. Because that's something we're all very good at doing. Is being everything to everybody, but when it comes to ourselves, we're always at the bottom of the list. So so I think that's really refreshing to hear, actually, that you have managed to do that, because I think that has definitely been, particularly for women, one of the struggles over, you know, the various lockdowns that we've had. But also a message of hope that it's, you know, all is not lost, and I'm hearing this more and more, that obviously as we're feeling the shift in energy and the light at the end of the tunnel in terms of the pandemic, we're also hearing a lot more positive stories about how businesses and individuals who've had to pivot over COVID have opened up new and exciting channels of business and opportunities that actually they might not ordinarily have considered or unearthed. And that in times of crisis, there are often great opportunities.
It's to open the small doors, I think, when there is big challenge like this. It's just because you don't want to think about other things, or you're just focused too much. And the universe just said, no, think bigger, think really wider, think about what you can really give. And you just clean off. Also, it's a bit of a cleaner of what you want to do and where you want to go. So it's sometimes needed. It's obviously it's difficult because there is some businesses who to survive that. It's difficult. But when you are on the service or product based, there is always a way to get out of these restrictions. I think.
And I think for the rest, it's, you know, communities like this, that like we have, are really, really important, so that we can support one another through these challenges, but also be there to celebrate the rewards and the wins as a result of all of the hard work. So Vanessa, I would like to say thank you very much for joining us today, and to everyone who joined us as well. We're really grateful for your time and for coming to hear your story. Thank you for being so open and honest with us. I know that, you know, much of your journey has been, you know, deeply personal. And so it's been a great privilege to have you share that with us today.
Thank you for the invitation. I mean, it's also, I found really, I was not much onto, I see other groups of women in networking or for business, but this is the first one I found that you give really something, a sense of community, and you can feel the supports from each other. I see that in the masterminds, and even in the Instagram posts and stuff, and all the support of liking and commenting and stuff. And I find that really wonderful to see women also bonded to each other. So I'm really glad to be here to share my story.
You're very, very welcome. I mean, for me, and I think everyone else in the room will agree before we end off here, that when women thrive, communities thrive. And that's why it's really important for us to support one another. And, you know, whether that be using the power of our purses to support one another's businesses through the products and services that we buy, or, you know, sharing a story of an inspirational woman that we've heard. And that makes a big difference, because it helps to keep making the circle bigger, driving that sense of collaboration and inspiration. So thank you very, very much for your time today, Vanessa, and everything of the best for the arrival of your second baby. I know that we're going to be running a masterclass with you about a month after you've had your little one, so I'll keep everybody posted. But yeah, thank you very much, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
Everyone.
Take care, and I will be sharing the recording with everyone soon via an email. We'll see you soon. Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.